What's up, y'all? This is JB from Music Boy Productions, and today we're going to be editing some drums. Lots of times when you get a track or tracks to mix, rather, sometimes there's some editing to be done. And so I'm going to go in this first phase of editing and start with the drums. I'm one of those people that like my drums to be like dead on the click. That way everything's tight and I can like revert when I'm editing later to like the piano or the bass or the guitars. So I'm going to play a course of a song that's not released yet. It's just a demo song, actually. So I just wanted to use this as an example to editing drums for this video. Let me let you hear it. And I also have the click on so you can hear, the inconsistencies of what's going on here. All right, here we go. So that's not bad at all. That's actually very good, but we're going to tighten it up even more. Step number one in doing this is to group your tracks, group all your drums. So all your individual tracks. We got kick in, we got kick two, we got snare top, we got a deep snare here. We got 3 times a hi-hat, overhead left, right. All right. So with these guys, it's important to group your drums. Every DAW you can do this. I'm obviously in Logic, so I'm going to show you how to do it in Logic. All right, so I have all of my individual drums selected. Basically, all you do is select them all, go to this group tab in the mixer. You got to be in a mixer, and then you just go here, and then you put new group. I'm going to name this drums video. There we go. I'm going to push enter. Now we have all of our drums in drums video. Another step before you move on to start editing the actual drums is to go into settings here under your groups tab. Make sure everything is active. If not, it'll look like this. So you want to make sure it's active and it is selected. Now that I have this highlighted, I'm going to go to settings and I'm going to click this editing button. So if you don't click this editing button here, you won't be affecting all the drums as a group pretty much. So once you group them, you want to make sure you push editing or click the editing button. That way, when you do something, let me show you what it looks like when I don't do it. So they're grouped, but if I go to edit something, it's only going to edit that one kick two. So I'm going to undo that and I'll push the editing. And now when I go to cut the wave, it'll cut everything in that group just like this. So now all my drums are grouped to be edited. So that's an important step not to skip is the editing here. So I'm going to undo that. This first one is already done. I'm going to zoom in all the way. And we're going to do some work here because look, it cut off the actual transient. It's not before it. So we're going to actually fix that too. Let's go to the next one. Next one is here. It's not too bad. It's pretty on. But I'm going to click before the transient no matter how off it is or how early it is from the actual bar, as you can see. All right. I'm going to do all the kicks. The ones that are very close by each other, I'm going to skip them just in case I don't have to deal with them. Lots of times I do have to deal with them, but sometimes I don't. So I'm not going to pick all of them. I'm just going to go through and do most of them. So we have most of the kicks and most of the snares in this little chorus section here. In this situation where it's cut, I like to pull this over and pull this over. And because we already cut the other side of it, we're not going to worry about this because we can always slide that back over. What we're going to do here is we're going to move it to be right on the beginning of the bar. And I'm going to just leave it at that because we're going to come back to this and we're going to clean everything up. So I'm going to now go to my second kick and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make sure it's hitting right at that transient. Same thing here. I'm going to do the same thing here and make sure it starts right at the transient. Matter of fact, that might be still a little early. No, that's clean. I'll stay there. Same thing for this one. We're just going here and moving the transient to the beginning of the bar where it should be, because we're moving it to the grid. This is our grid here. So I'm going to just go through all of this whole section and do this. Select, move. Same thing here. The next one is here. Select, and now this is cut off, you see? So just pulling it over and pulling it over. Literally, that's all we're doing. It's moving all the drums because I have them selected with the editing part here. Let's move to the next one. Select, zoom in. This is very late, so I'm gonna move this all the way over. We're gonna go to the next one, do the same thing. So this is pretty much what we're doing. This is called pocketing, guys. Pocketing the drums, or at least what I like to call pocketing the drums. So guys, in the description of this video, I have my brand new 7-step EBM mixing checklist, editing before mixing checklist. I took my time and I put all of this in a nice PDF so you guys could get it for free. Let's listen. It's not gonna sound good because it's got a lot of gaps in between, but let's listen. A lot more tighter though, guys. Let's listen back to what it sounded like beforehand. This is how it sounded before. So let me make a very huge point that I forgot to mention at the beginning. You want to make sure that you keep your original drums, the original drums. Once you start editing, before you start cutting all these up and stuff, like cutting up and stuff, you want to duplicate, after you get them in the group, you want to duplicate your playlist. If you don't know how to duplicate your playlist, or if you don't see these track alternative options there, you right click the track with it on and you go to track header components, and then you make sure track alternatives is on there. My point is you want to duplicate. So this is the original drums and this is the edited drums here. So make sure you add another playlist to it. Okay, guys. So we listened to our edited drums, but we're sounding very, unnatural, right? So again, these are all grouped. So I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to right click on one of the files here. I'm going to go to trim region, start to previous region. This will get rid of the gaps. So where the transient starts, where we moved our transients, from that transient, it will move over to in the gap. Matter of fact, I'm going to make sure you guys can see this when I do it. So where's a bigger gap? Here's a bigger gap here. I'm going to do it here. I'm going to go to trim, right click, go to trim, and I'm going to trim region, start to previous region. That just filled all the gaps because everything was already in time. So another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to more here, and I'm going to fade them all, equal power fade, and then I'm going to put like a 4% fade on them. So now you shouldn't hear any of the discrepancies or anything that doesn't sound unnatural when we listen to it this time. These are edited drums. Let's listen again. I'm gonna turn the click off so you can hear it without. So some of the things that I heard during this was some of our toms were cut off. That's fine. This is what we do to fix that. And I'm going to do a little fade here as well at the very beginning. All right, so let's listen again. So right here, I'm going to move this back so nothing is cut off. I think we're good here. Yeah, we're good. But you just don't want your cuts to cut any of these transients off. This is a transient. You don't want to make it cut in the middle. It's always going to be in the front of the transient. So I'm not liking the way that sounds. So I'm going to simply bring it all the way up to this part to make sure. See how that cleaned up that tom right there? What was that? It's another one of those discrepancies here. So I want to get as close as I can. And I also want to make this fade a little bit bigger. Guys, this is intensive, man. If you don't know, now you know. Let's go back. That cleaned it up some. Same thing with this tom here. We're going to try to go as far as up to this kick as we can without, hurting it, and then make sure the fade is, not cutting off the kick at all. And I'm going to listen back. That snare, that double snare here. That second snare is very late. It's going to move it over so it'll be on time. And matter of fact, I'm going to keep going because I'm going to clear all the gaps later. So let's see. So let's see what we got here. That kick right there is super early. So I'm going to scoot it over. Make sure our other kick didn't get cut off. All right, so let's listen one more time, guys. Matter of fact, I'm going to close my gaps again. Let me select all. Then close all my gaps, so it'll do it for all of them. Select, trim to previous region. There we go. Here we go. So now we have a much tighter performance of the drums. Not the whole song, but this chorus here. So you would go on and do that for the whole song from the beginning to the end. I just did this chorus so you could kind of get an idea of what was going on. Once this is done and you have your edit, you want to make another duplicate right here. another duplicate playlist of the same thing. And now, because all the gaps are filled and all the fades are in, now you want to consolidate. In Logic, you can just literally push the letter J and it will consolidate all of that for you. So now you have, consolidated files, solid files. And you also have the edited version you just had, but now you have a playlist that's a lot cleaner. Which C, I got to get rid of C because that was a mistake. But anyway, you have a much cleaner look. And now you have some clean drums. Let's listen again with everything, with all the music. Here we go. There we go, guys. Hope you enjoy. If you have any questions regarding anything I did, anything going on in my videos, please just leave a comment. Go to the website, hit me up, whatever you need to do. All my socials are up here. Let's do some more work. Until next time, have a great one.